Stephen, thank you very much indeed. It's been a pretty intensive session today, so I will not keep you long. I was just reflecting, sitting on this table here, what a long way we have come in the 3 years since the first May Day Summit. And today, for me particularly, it's been really exciting to hear from my colleagues on the table some of the things, ideas and exciting things that are happening, and it's really, really a sign that there has been progress. And of course, as His Royal Highness said, at the heart of this has been the network and the 6 pledges for May Day. And these include measuring and reducing your own carbon emissions, as well as those of your customers and your suppliers. Now, we all know how important it is to put our own houses in order, but if we just thought for a minute to do what influence we can have on also helping our suppliers and our customers do the same, we can make immense progress. As individual businesses, we can and we do make enormous efforts on our own operations on the environmental side. But we are here today, some of the biggest businesses in the world. We are in a unique position to influence millions of people through encouraging the adoption of greener working practices in their operations. Now, since the network was formed, the world, of course, has changed considerably. We are in the midst of a global recession, which is forcing all of us to think very hard, no matter what size we're in, what sector we're in, about how we run our businesses and what we need to do to make sure that our businesses remain viable for the next 12, 15, 18 months. But one question I get frequently asked is, can and should businesses, or will businesses, continue to focus on climate change when profits are under pressure? And I always say quite clearly the answer is yes. And there are 2 very rational reasons why this should be the case. Firstly, of course, it is absolutely the right thing to do. We've heard very clearly today from several speakers, including His Royal Highness, that the recession will end, but climate change won't stop. It won't wait for the recession. It won't wait for the recession to come to an end. And it's a moral imperative and a physical imperative that we start acting today. Secondly, and even more importantly for me perhaps, because I've had first-hand experience of it, it is actually and can be profitable for your business. Many of you may know here that we introduced a program in Marks & Spencer some 2.5 years ago, which we call Plan A, which is effectively our plan for sustainability, supported across 5 pillars with 100 actions that we wanted to put in place. And we said that we would invest some 200 million pounds over 5 years without passing a penny on to our customers for the cost of doing that. And the really most exciting thing for me to be able to say is, and this has been audited and it will appear in our CSR report this year, is that at the end of year 2, it has actually turned profit positive for us. So by doing the things that we think we need to do and believe are right to do, we're actually managing to make them profitable at the same time. And the really important thing for that is that the girls and boys, and I don't mean that in a pejorative sense, but by definition everybody who works for me is a boy or a girl because I'm so old, but the boys and girls in our business are now running harder than the management were running some 2.5 years ago to try and get the program instigated, and I think that's real progress. I urge you to think the same way. What else can we do? Well, we can influence and change opinion. And we don't have to always do this through our customers and through our suppliers, but we must and we can also, of course, influence regulators and governments. We can collaborate. It's a word we used a lot on our table today. You've heard about the joint initiative to develop a guide for suppliers. This means they're able to benefit from the shared experiences of, say, a Lloyds or a BT or a Kingfisher or indeed a Marks & Spencer, a United Utilities, an EDF or a Royal Mail. And by working together, we've now got a really useful resource for our suppliers. We can and we are beginning to set best practice. In M&S, for example, we hosted a May Day journey on the supplier network to give our suppliers access to the resource. Now, many of our suppliers are located overseas. They don't have access to the Carbon Trust or to RAP or to BRE or to the Energy Savings Trust, but they do have access to this network and they are using it. We can innovate. All businesses need to innovate on a daily basis. But across our businesses, we've seen innovations from the mass use of energy-efficient light bulbs to the green incentive schemes for consumers through the growth of green funds in the city. And the success of these innovations shows that if businesses create the right products and services, there is a demand and there is a market for them. So it is, of course, a win-win situation. We can and we must continue to communicate. Trust, I think, at the moment is one of the most valued commodities, and increasingly people are looking to brands that they can trust. But trust has been severely shaken. And as Warren Buffett said, it's only when the tide goes out that you can see who's swimming naked. We must all build trust We must all continue to try and build loyalty, and we must all continue to communicate with our consumers, whoever they are and whatever they do, about the things that we believe in. Now, going green isn't always about expense, and many of the Marks & Spencer customers that we talk to, and 21 million customers talk to us on a regular basis, say, actually, we're quite predisposed to go green, just show us how to do it. So this communication point is extremely important, and I think this is a day, therefore, today, to reflect on the network's progress. But it's also a day to think, how can we take it further? And I'd just like, finally, to finish off by saying that this time next year when we come together, I think the Prince has already asked you to do this, but please think hard how you can go out and make 3, 4, 5 other people, whether they be suppliers, whether they be customers, whether they be other people who interact with your business, join this network and make this network grow at the pace that it needs to grow if we're to tackle the issues that we've got to tackle in the next few years. Finally today, I'd just like to thank His Royal Highness for giving up his time today and a lot of his valuable time. I know, sir, you've had an extremely busy week. Thank you very much indeed. I know it's a subject that's very close to your heart, but you have planted the flag, and I believe that you can see today that we are all rallying to the cause. So thank you very much indeed.